Hello and welcome. It's very late for us because the weather has been really shit and it was really hard getting back from Cambridge. That's my excuse. Andy, what's yours?
I was waiting for you to get back from floods in Cambridge.
There you go. You see, that's what it's like living in a society and helping and relying on people is that, you know, one thing that affects one person will affect other people and it just sort of ripples out like that and as if a butterfly were flapping its wings and it was having an effect elsewhere in the world. Someone should make a name for that.
Yeah, that's a nice analogy. I think you should probably...
I think Ashton Kutcher came up with it.
Oh, another Ashton Kutcherism.
I'm fucking sick of having Ashton Kutcher get the jump on our gun.
Yeah, man. Tell me about it. Wait, I think I heard somewhere that he was meant to be like going up into space in Richard Branson's rocket.
No, did he bail?
And then, yeah, well, he did. And the reason
Richard Branson was on it.
Apparently the reason he did was that his wife took him to one side and said, "We've got like young kids and stuff. This isn't the time to be going up into space, Ashton Kutcher." So,
wow, weak move, Ashton. You gonna take that?
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not. I'd just not want to get into a room with Richard Branson unless it was crime was legal.
Well, that's the thing. That's the part that tickles me is that I feel like he's using that as an excuse. Actually, he didn't want to go up into space, and he's like, "Yeah, my wife told me I can't go into space. I'm sorry, guys." You know how it is.
Thing is, all this space shit, like,
yeah,
they're not even going into space properly. They're just sitting on a big daft rocket.
Yeah,
and then not even going to the moon. What's the point?
Yeah,
you're going all that way and then not going to the actual moon. It's like, I don't know. It's like driving to Cornwall and then not going to the seaside.
I like the way you like couching it as if you were like elderly men sitting in a pub and somebody comes in and says, "I've been to space," and you go, "Oh yeah, did you go to that moon?"
Big space boy. Get on the moon. Oh, did you go to the moon? Oh, of course you didn't. You fucking twat.
Big space boy is my favourite new way of trivializing all this. Or trivializing anything. If somebody starts bragging, just be like, "Oh yeah, you big space boy." Anytime somebody's bragging about anything technological,
they just get confused. And then you just go, "Ha!" and turn away.
Yeah. Turn back to your exact plans of the Apollo rockets.
Anyway, this has been a hot intro, so I'm going to go more traditional because we're starting at an unusual time, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have more of a Western audience, implying we ever have an audience. So
we've got a great audience.
We do, actually.
Quality, not quantity.
They are fucking brilliant. But this does mean that we're more likely to be exposed to Americans. And I'd just like to explain what we're doing here and why you shouldn't be angry with us. So there's this book by this fella called Herman Melville, not Herman Miller. And
they might have heard of it.
They might have. It's one of their great American novels. And the thing is, it's written in old person language and no one knows what's going on. So what we're doing is we're updating it for modern people with modern sensibilities and modern reading habits. Thinking, you know, Dan Brown, Tom Clancy.
Oh, yeah, that sort of Tom Clancy. Yeah.
Just with a bit less fascism. And yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes, and we're currently up to chapter 20, which is called All Astir, and it's only a short one, which is good because we've got to get an early night.
Yeah, and that goes for you too, everybody in chat. You have to,
especially if you're in America.
Yeah, you have to have a very early night.
We don't make the rules. Anyway, so we'll just do a very quick little recap.
Well, did we read the previous chapter?
We didn't, which is why I'm going to suggest an alternate format for recap. Normally we have a bit of a coin toss situation. Or we just, rely on the milk of human kindness, and one of us will just sort of suggest that we do the recap.
Yeah, less frequent.
What if we share it and we go bullet point by bullet point on important story beats that have gotten to us to where we are now? And I'm interested to see what we miss.
That. Yeah, I like this.
All right, you start. I'll follow up. One sentence.
Okay. So we joined our main character, Ishmael, as he thought about how restless he was on land and how he should get to sea again.
Someone tells him whaling is good.
He hears that the best way to get on a whaling ship is to go to Nantucket.
He goes to Nantucket, but he ain't got any money for a hotel, so he goes to the worst place ever, which is called Spouter Inn by Peter Coffin, the prank master.
Yeah, I mean that was in New Bedford rather than Nantucket. He hasn't got to Nantucket yet.
I can't remember. I'm not a geography guy.
While he's staying at the Spouter Inn, he meets his new best friend / wife, Queequeg, who immediately tries to kill him with an axe. But that's just a regular instinct when people meet Ishmael. And actually, as time goes on, they realize that they're best friends and that maybe they should ship together.
And so they do ship together on a ship to go to the place where the other ships are, and that's where they eat a bit of chowder.
Haha. And while they're staying at the place where they eat a bit of chowder, Ishmael leaves Queequeg engaged in some kind of religious ritual in his room, and he says, "Don't bother me for a bit, Ishmael." Ishmael agrees not to bother him for a bit, and then after a couple of hours comes back and raises the roof on the hotel because he's convinced Queequeg has done himself an injury because he's not answering the door.
Turns out he hadn't, and he was just meditating, and it was all just a funny joke. And Ishmael went on a bit about our religion's a bit daft, and then they moved on, and then they went and signed some paperwork for boat.
This is making me realise how many pranks there are in Moby Dick.
Everyone's pranking. This is a prankster's paradise.
Can you imagine living in this century? Everyone's
Moby
just pranking.
Dick or Prankster's Paradise by Herman Melville.
The whale, parentheses, pranks, lol, 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 lol. Anyway, we reached that. Ishmael.
Time.
Yeah, Queequeg had said that. Have you already said that he's gone down to choose a boat?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I forgot that.
So, Queequeg says that Ishmael should be the one to choose which ship they go on. So Ishmael goes down, has a look at all the nice ships in the dock, and finds the one that's covered in the most bones and the most ominous signs of death. Decides, this is the ship for me.
And has the most fucked up people running it who just keep telling him scary stories.
Yeah, getting outrageously angry with each other.
Yeah. Which brings us to where we are right now, pretty much. So they've gone back, they've picked their ship, Ishmael's done his papers, they brought back Queequeg, and they're like, "Oh, this guy looks a bit foreign to me. You sure he's alright to go on a ship?" And Ishmael was like, "Yeah, fuck off." And they're like, all right. And Queequeg sort of proved that he was a good boat guy by yeeting a harpoon at an apple that someone was holding. Just as he was about to take a bite. It was very cinematic.
Do you think there's any job you couldn't get by doing that? Somebody says, "Well, what are your qualifications?" And you immediately stand on something and throw a large harpoon into a target a great distance off.
I can't think of any position that I would not instantly hire for.
Yeah, lollipop person, immediately hired.
Yeah.
Milk
Shelf
person.
stacker.
Shelf stacker, 100%. 100p.
One of those wankers that does finance.
Yeah.
Shows his goals oriented. I'll tell you what. One of those people that tells people to calm down. Therapist. I was going to say
therapist. I was going to say psychiatrist. It maybe says a lot about us that both of us twigged that just from the clue. One of those people that
that or hostage negotiator. But then I thought, no, I'd be really good at that.
It'd be great at hostage negotiation.
It'd go full Keanu Reeves in Speed and shoot the hostage, but instead of actually shooting him with a gun, he's shooting him with his harpoon and dragging him out through windows.
Yeah, very slowly.
There's people threatening to shoot him, just like, what are you doing? Fall from the 3rd floor.
Another victory for Keanu Reeves.
Would Keanu make a good Queequeg?
He'd make a good anything, wouldn't he?
He would. He'd make a better Ishmael. Just staring at things. Alright, anyway, so they spoke to the co-captains who are fucked up guys and basically got them a bit spooked about the ship. And on the way back, the following happens, which is where we're going to get our little read-through of what we wrote last time in Chapter 19. So we will begin on that. And
Excellent.
Andy, would you like to begin?
By all means, let's see. Chapter 19. A weird, ugly man who says odd things. Shipmates, have ye shipped in that ship? Those were the words that
There we go.
broke Queequeg and I out of our nice, serene, walking sort of reverie on our way back from the ship. I looked over at the face that had made them.
You can do it.
I looked over at the face that had made them. And bloody hell, this was an ugly guy that was talking. Face like a dried up riverbed that had once had a disease or 3. Fully grotesque. The goblin man.
I dragged my eyes away from his nightmare face and managed to spot the largest forefinger I have ever seen. It was pointing over at the Pequod. Have ye shipped in her? He repeated.
You mean the ship Pequod, I suppose, said I, trying to buy a little more time for an uninterrupted look at him.
Aye, the Pequod, that ship there. He started reeling in that weird arm of his and started jabbing his massive fingers at the Pequod over and over again, like a boxer with a messed up glove.
Yes, said I. We have just signed the papers.
Anything down there about your souls?
About what?
Oh, perhaps you haven't got any, he said quickly. No matter though, I know many chaps that haven't got any, and good luck to 'em. And they are all the better off for it. A soul's a sort of a fifth wheel to a wagon.
What the fuck are you on about, shipmate? Said I.
He's got enough, though, to make up for all deficiencies of that sort in other chaps, abruptly said the stranger, placing a nervous emphasis on the word he.
Queequeg, I said. Let's go. This fellow has broken loose from somewhere. He's talking all kinds of mixed up junk that doesn't mean anything to me. Talking about people we don't even know.
Stop! Cried the stranger. You said true. You haven't seen Old Thunder yet, have ye?
Who's Old Thunder? Said I. I was fully planning to simply leave, but the guy was really earnest in his insanity, and part of me respected that.
Captain Ahab.
What? The captain of our ship, the Pequod?
Aye. Among some of us old sailor chaps, he goes by that name. You haven't seen him yet, have ye?
No, we haven't. He's sick, they say, but is getting better and will be all right again before long.
All right before long! Wah, 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 wah! Laughed the stranger, with a solemnly derisive sort of laugh. Look ye, when Captain Ahab is all right, then this left arm of mine will be all right, not before.
What do you know about him?
He does have a fucked up arm, has he even acknowledged it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But what kind of injury has he got to have a giant
massive
finger? He just got his finger caught in a mangle.
Okay. Sorry, what do you know about him? What did they tell you about him? Say that.
They didn't tell us all that much, actually, to be honest. Just that he's good at killing whales and being nice to his crew.
That's true, yes, both, true enough. But you must jump when he gives an order. Step and growl, growl and go. That's the word with Captain Ahab. But nothing about that thing that happened to him off Cape Horn long ago when he lay like dead for 3 days and nights. Nothing about that deadly scrimmage with the Spaniard afore the altar in Santa. Heard nothing about that, eh? Nothing about the silver calabash he spat into. And nothing about losing his leg last voyage. According to the prophecy. Didn't you hear a word about them matters and something more? Eh? No? I don't think you did. How could you? Who knows it? Not all Nantucket, I guess. But howsever, mayhap you've heard tell about the leg and how he lost it, eh? Ye have heard of that, I dare say. Oh, yes, not everyone knows almost. I mean, they know he's only got one leg, and that a Parmachetti took the other off.
My friend, I said, whatever it is you're going on about, I don't know, and I don't care. Honestly, you seem a little bit damaged in the brain, so you have my sympathies. But if you are speaking of Captain Ahab, of that ship there, the Pequod, then let me tell you that I know all about the loss of his leg.
All about it, eh? You sure you do? All?
Pretty sure, I said. I was pretty sure, after all.
With finger pointed and eye levelled at the Pequod, the beggar-like stranger stood a moment, as if in a troubled reverie, then jumped up in a manic fashion, turned and said, "You've shipped, have ye? Names down on the papers. Well, well, what's signed is signed, and what's to be will be. And then again, perhaps it won't be. After all, anyhow, it's all fixed and arranged already, and some soldier or other... soldier? Some sailor or other must go with him, I suppose. As well these as any other men. God pity 'em. Mourning to ye, shipmates. Mourning. The ineffable heavens bless ye. I'm sorry I stopped ye."
He was getting weirder by the word. "Look here, buddy," I said. "Cut to the chase, you weird bastard. What's your problem? If you're out here trying to bamboozle us like we're a couple of idiot pricks, then you're wasting your time. That's all I have to say."
And it said very well. And I like to hear a chap talk up that way. You are just a man for him, the likes of ye. Morning to ye, shipmates. Morning. Oh, when ye get there, tell them I've concluded not to make one of them.
He was clearly trying to cover up his weird rambling and bullshit by pretending he had something mysterious going on about him. But I'd rolled that particular dice myself before, and was not going to fall for it. "Ah, my dear fellow, you can't fool us that way. You can't fool us. It is the easiest thing in the world for a man to look as if he has a great secret in him."
Morning to you, shipmates. Morning.
He was whispering now.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
"Morning, is it?" I screamed and grabbed Queequeg's hand. "Come along, Queequeg, let's leave this crazy man. But stop, tell me your name, will you?"
Elijah.
What a name for an awful guy, and what an awful guy to have met, especially just before we go off and get on a big, dangerous, bone-covered whaling ship. Thinking about it, there were a lot of weird things to see just before going off on a big, dangerous voyage, really.
We kept on walking and talked about how weird and gross and ugly that guy was. At one point, I looked over my shoulder. Elijah was following us. This fucking guy, what the hell? What was his game? Why was he trying to mess with my head so much? Him following us, combined with some of the stuff he'd said and some of the stuff we'd seen, you know? I'd be lying if it didn't all kind of stack up in some kind of list of bad omens about our upcoming voyage. They were the following.
This guy, the ship being covered in bones, Ahab being really ill, Ahab having lost a leg, Ahab going really weird around Cape Horn, Ahab bidding in a silver calabash. I don't know what those are still. All the other stuff Peleg said. The inn where it looked like gallows. Queequeg stroke/suicide scare. The church where that guy just kept doing sermons on how whales will mess you up. Bones all over the Spouster Inn. Bones all over everything, to be honest.
For a man looking for a carefree life, I certainly had a lot of cause for worry. I didn't like that, so I set to test out this weird Elijah guy to see if he was really following us or just being a big daft fakey. I grabbed Queequeg again and we did a swift turn to go back the way we'd come. Elijah didn't follow us. It's kind of anticlimactic now that I think of it. And that's the end of the chapter.
What a chapter!
What a chapter. All right.
Can I suggest, we were going to do our parallel adventure where Bulkington and Peter
Looking
Coffin...
in the Popular Boys.
and Peter Coffin go off and have their own adventure. I think Elijah should be part of their crew as well.
Oh, yeah. And he just keeps saying good morning all the time and it just pisses everyone off.
Making prophecies after stuff has happened.
Yeah, those aren't prophecies, those are memories. You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Said Bulkington handsomely.
I get the impression Bulkington wouldn't say anything.
He just smiles and everyone says how great he is.
Yeah, or it's all just reported. It was just like Bulkington said something great. But it's never... That's what readers love.
Well, just someone being told that they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, they just... they just have to fill in the blanks themselves, I guess.
Okay, we are on to chapter 20, which is really short, which is fantastic. Chapter 20, All Astir. Do you want to take the first paragraph, or shall I?
Oh, I'll dive in. I'm excited to see what's all astir. I don't know about you, Sam.
Everyone's going to be going off on one, aren't they? Popping off, as the kids would say.
I mean, if the other chapters weren't all astir, I mean, I don't know what is.
I think this one's going to be pretty PogChamp, Kappa.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what these mean.
If anyone knows how to PogChamp in chat...
If you can figure out how to PogChamp in chat, can I have one, please? I don't know what it looks like.
It's that guy going...
Oh, is that the guy that got banned for being a fucking prick?
No.
That's why it changed. There was that guy who did this face. That's very emotive.
Did he actually get banned?
Well, they changed the emote. He was doing something like, it was good that they did the Capitol Hill insurrection. I think that's what he did. And then Twitch was like...
And then he did a pog face.
Oh, it's a snake now! Very good. I like the snake. I'm going to type that.
You underline it.
How do I emote?
Oh, I got cut off.
Snake. There. I did a snake emote.
Oh, that's because Snake has replaced it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, learning about children culture. Is this children's culture? This is the internet now. I don't know, we're old.
Try Kappa.
How do you... Is it like
It's
this?
spelled Kappa.
Like the Japanese mythological beast?
Yes.
There he is.
Let's see what mythological beast we did.
It's that guy. I don't know who that is.
It's just a random
We're
place.
learning about emotions and emotes. What else is there here? Oh, you can do them with a Bob Ross hat. Alright, anyway. All the stuff.
I like how before this stream started, I was like, we should make this into a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, all astir. A day or two passed, and there was great activity aboard the Pequod. Not only were the old sails being mended, but new sails were coming on board, and bolts of canvas and coils of rigging. In short, everything betokened that the ship's preparations were hurrying to a close. Captain Peleg seldom or never went ashore, but sat in his wigwam keeping a sharp lookout upon the hands. Bildad did all the purchasing and providing at the stores, and the men employed in the hold and on the rigging were working till long after nightfall.
All right, we can split this in two. So we got the first one. A lot of shit happening on the boat. They were getting prepped. We can cover that in like fucking 8 words. All right.
I hope that's not a reaction to the chapter, JT. He's space palming.
Oh no. And he's putting robots in, suggesting that we're approaching this too methodically. A day or two passed. I don't know how long. I'm not a maths guy.
Wait, can Ishmael not tell basic time? Is that
a day or two passed?
Is this part of the thing where he doesn't have object permanence either?
Actually, no. It'll be more likely he doesn't know how long it was. I don't know how long. I wasn't really keeping notes. Which is really good because he's given us all this detail so far.
Yeah, he's keeping very detailed notes of everything that happened.
The day or two passed. I wasn't really keeping notes. But the important thing was that the Pequod was getting all fixed up and ready to sail. So much sail. Sail for days.
Yeah, I realise some of these are probably spare sails, but it does make it sound like they're just covering it in sail.
You wouldn't believe how many sails they were strapping to this thing. Sails in the hole, for Christ's sake. If this ship had one thing on it, there wasn't sails. Sorry, there wasn't bones. It was sails.
JT says, please list types of sails.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
Mainsail. I think mutton shoulder is a type of sail.
Mainsails. Oh, wait, no, because every time we do a list, we have to title it like it was a list. Here are some of the types of sail I remember. Mainsail, topsail.
Nice.
Is a topsail a thing?
Weird is now.
I need more sails.
Jib,
No,
Jib.
not Alexi Sail. You can't strap him to a boat. He's not an Argonaut.
You can.
I mean, you could. I wouldn't recommend. Only if he's up for it. If Alexi Sail's agent is watching this, please get in touch. I don't know other types of sail.
I've googled it. So This isn't my knowledge, but we've got jib.
Ah, that's a camera move.
Spinnaker is a good one.
That's a type of encoder.
Something called a Code Zero or Screecher.
Screecher?
I think are both Metal Gear characters by the sound of it.
I'm putting a question mark after Screecher. And I'm just going the list. And many more.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so, it's okay. I guess the other thing, besides bones and sails, was food and other things that go in people. Other things that people need. And also, those old captain guys, Peleg, and... what's his other name? Bildad. Gandalf. Peleg and Bildad, who were doing loads of admin and shouting. Right.
In their bone tent.
Everyone was working very hard. Yeah, let's get that in. Just a little summary. Everyone was working very hard. That's important. Because it also implies that our guys weren't doing anything. Alright. On the day following Queequeg's signing of the articles, word was given that all the inns where the ship's company were stopping, that their chests must be on board before night, for there was no telling how soon the vessel might be sailing. Question, why? Do they just not know when they're leaving? That's very bad timetabling.
I guess it's just when the weather's good.
Maybe. I don't know much about sailing. I'm not a proper sailor like our boy Ishmael.
True.
So, Queequeg and I got down our traps, resolving, however, to sleep ashore till the last. But it seems they always give very long notice in these cases. What the fuck? And the ship did not sail for several days. But no wonder. There was a good deal to be done, and there's no telling how many things to be thought of before the Pequod was fully equipped. This is a redundant paragraph. We've just had this.
What the fuck, Melville? He's like, oh my god, it could set off any second because they finished everything. And then the next thing is like, but actually they hadn't finished everything and there was still lots to do.
At one point, let's call that out. At one point, some guys were like, oh, fellas, come on, quick and get all your stuff aboard.
You know what this is, don't you, Sam? It's a prank.
Ah, they're getting pranked.
They're getting pranked again.
World of pranks with Herman Melville. We don't even know when we're sailing. Quick, hurry up. But then it turned out that we were still not ready to go, and they were just messing us about, really. So that was annoying. Right.
Perfect. Everyone knows what a multitude of things. Oh, it's list time.
Oh, yes, lists!
It's the list chapter.
Yes!
This is what everybody's here for.
This is why I'm all astir.
Nice. Everyone knows what a multitude of things. Beds, saucepans, knives and forks, shovels and tongs, napkins, nutcrackers, and whatnot are indispensable. I think we did. I think he's already done it.
For fuck's sake, Melville pranked us.
Are indispensable to the business of housekeeping. Just so with whaling, which necessities of 3 years' housekeeping upon the wide ocean, far from all grocers, costermongers, doctors, bakers, and bankers. And though this also holds true of merchant vessels, yet not by any means to the same extent as with whalemen. For besides the great length of the whaling voyage, the numerous articles peculiar to the prosecution of the fishery, and the impossibility of replacing them at the remote harbours usually frequented, it must be remembered that of all ships, whaling vessels are the most exposed to accidents of all kinds, and especially to the destruction and loss of the very things upon which the success of the voyage most depends. Hence, the spare boats, spare spars, the spar lines, and harpoons, and spare everything, almost, but a spare captain and a duplicate ship. I think you did write this already.
Okay.
The only thing that's missing is
cut this down. This needs more items and less chat.
If it started, I'm the kind of guy, this would be a paragraph that we've written already.
If you knew anything about sailing and whaling, a guy like me, you would know. In fact, let's do that. All right. I'm kind of just going to copy paste this and we're just going to modify it. All right.
Well, actually, he doesn't start with sailing stuff, does he? He's like, everyone knows how much stuff you need in a household.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're the kind of guy who knows what sort of things get used in a house. I spell house like with a W, what the fuck? Used in a house. House.
I'm going to put a light on because I'm going XCOM again.
Oh, no.
Commander, you are very good and handsome.
You'd know I've gotten too good at XCOM, or my guys have gotten too good at XCOM now. It's not even fair. It's not even fair. I don't even need to push buttons anymore. You'd know. If you are the kind of guy who knows what sort of things get used in a house, you'd know it's important to have things like these. Semicolon. Beds, saucepans, knives and forks, shovels and tongs, napkins, nutcrackers. What other things do you need in a house, Andy? Back in the day, not modern day. We're not having USB chargers.
Brooms, ladders.
Yeah, brooms.
Little dustpan and brush, big dustpan and brush.
Little dustpan and brush. Big dustpan and brush. Bucket.
Bucket.
just a bucket, not buckets.
Well, welcome to mine and Sam's whaling museum.
Books, papers, lamps, etc., and whatnot.
Old type pens, but not new type pens.
Papers and old type pens, lamps, etc., and whatnot. These are all things. No, we're moving on from that. We can't list every single item in a house. We're supposed to be making this shorter.
I know.
Oh, bedpans though. Oh, what about those frying pans they put in a bed to warm it up? Oh. Bedpans. Wait, is that a bedpan? No, that's definitely not.
Well, it depends. Maybe some people they don't know.
These are all things that are indispensable to the business of housekeeping. Just so with whaling. All right. And folks, let me tell you, it's no different with whaling. Think about it. You're living on that boat, which makes it a house. Which means, yeah. Which means you're looking at 3 years of housekeeping. 3 years of housekeeping on the wide ocean, far from all. Okay, we're going to need to frame this list better. Far from all sorts of places where you could get new supplies and things for your house/ship.
Like?
I'm talking about grocers, what's a costermonger?
I thought it was like a grocer's, but I must be wrong.
I'm going to say rope salesman. Rope salesman. We're going to capitalize these because they're professions. Oh, you don't need bankers though. Doctors, bakers.
It is like a grocer's. I thought they were interchangeable. It's a person who sells goods, especially fruit and vegetables, from a hand cart in the street. Oh, I see. So it's the street version.
Street market. Yeah, we need clothes. Played enough Dwarf Fortress with clothes rotting off my dwarfs to know they're important.
Was that your thing?
Tailors, tinkers, tailors. Yes. Okay, let's get that in there.
Yeah.
We can get rid of bankers. We don't need them. Bakers.
Nice. Our utopia.
Tinkers, tailors, soldiers. We don't need soldiers or spies. Tinkers, tailors, carpenters. Although I guess you'd have a carpenter on the ship, but you wouldn't have a lumberjack. Carpenter.
Can we have piemen? Piemen was a job in the 1800s.
Piemen.
Yeah.
Etc. And what'd you say, Em? Oh shit, candlestick maker.
Did you not put candlestick maker in already?
I forgot. I went Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I was thinking about the film with the really good long lens shot. Tinker Tailor.
And nothing else.
We don't have candles on this ship.
Candlestick guys. Candlestick makers.
Can you change all of these to guys?
No. Absolutely not. News agents, pie. Instead of pie men, I'm changing it to pie salesman.
Cool.
It just sounds nicer, you know. Sounds more professional.
Yeah.
If you
Sounds
think, if I
less
say
like
to
a
you,
person.
pie man, yeah, you're thinking a person made out of pie. And
Yeah,
if
I
he falls
start
down
having
the
nightmares.
stairs, just hot gravy starts coming out of his rib cage.
Oh, God. Well, I know what nightmare I'm going to be having tonight.
No, don't eat it. No, it's too hot.
Is this the new advert for Booker Pies that we've stumbled upon? It's just a pie man falling down the stairs, bursting open and begging you not to eat him.
It starts with him kissing his wife goodbye as he goes to work, and he's got his briefcases all having a great time, and then he trips on a loose cobble and falls into the middle of the street and just breaks open. And there's hot gravy everywhere and chunks of beef. And he's going, no, don't look at me. And then just massive humans start you only see their shadows. They just start gathering around him and they're looking at him and he's going, don't do it, no. And then it just fades. Book of Pies, £1 or something.
Ginsters.
I don't understand why we're not very rich advertisers, Andy. I don't get it. Between that and the guy... Bisto advert.
Oh, yeah.
Someone burns their mouth on Bisto gravy. Okay, no, I understand why we're not popular advertisers right now.
Yeah, I kind of get it.
It's because I'm a one-note guy and all. My only idea is getting people who have accidents with hot gravy. I'm a hot gravy guy. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, Bisto.
I love seeing just the stunned silence in chat. This just it's like you just killed it.
You know, it's that thing like back in English classes where we thought that something was really funny.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking mortified.
I would be in tears because of something we were reading out, and yeah, the rest of the class really hated us, didn't they? They just.
It was great.
I think that's why you have this stream. It's so that you can
I can revisit that experience.
Yeah, finally channel that thing we did, which nobody liked, and make it into a stream that everyone can enjoy. Is this a good time to bring up your Patreon?
No. I've not updated it in ages. I'm like 8 chapters behind on it or something. I'm probably just going to put a link to the Google Doc so everyone else can read along, you know.
That's a good idea too.
It is. I'm just really worried I'll make it an edit only, or make it editable, and we'll get trolled by vile trolls. They'll just mess us up. We'll truly enter Melville's pranking world. Okay, so we just had a list of professions.
Uh-huh.
And though this also holds true of merchant vessels, yet not by any means the I don't care for fuck. No. Right. We don't need any of this.
No. Well,
yeah,
I quite like the idea that he's pointing out. He's like, by the way, stuff gets wrecked all the time on whaling vessels, so that's why they need backups. I do like the little joke about everything but a spare captain and a duplicate ship.
Oh yeah, we're keeping that list in. But we go, we had the list of things, and we're saying, right, this applies for all kinds of big voyage boats. Sorry, big voyage ships, because boats are submarines, I've been told.
Oh.
Big voyage ships, but it's super true for whaling ships, because they are the type of ships that get fucked up the most. Hands down. No debate. Worst place to be. Right. Okay, and then... yeah. So that's why, when it comes to whaling, you take double of everything. At least. And more than double, if you can. Right, and then we get to the list. Alright. I'm talking... I'm talking spare boats.
Spare spars.
Spare boats. Spare spars. Wait, we don't need to capitalize that. Spare boats, spare bars, spare lines and harpoons, and spare everything's almost. Spare lines and harpoon. Yeah, that all works. That bit's fine.
Should we change but to accept? Make it a bit more modern.
Yeah.
Sounding.
But we'll make it less classy.
Yeah.
Spare everything's more or less.
Nice.
Only thing you can't spare up. Only thing you can't double up on. Only thing you can't do. Yeah, only thing you can't do is bring a spare captain and a duplicate ship.
I like that it's saying this, but we've already established that the ship has 3 captains.
Yes, that would be insane.
Peleg, Bildad, and Ahab.
Yes. This is true. Oh well. Okay.
Okay, I'm still thinking about that pie man, but I will try and get through
it. It's too hot for you.
I picture it as like chicken and mushroom for some reason as well.
I'm thinking of it as a big beefy boy.
Oh.
Interesting. Have you watched Alien recently? And are you thinking about that guy who is a robot? And like,
yeah,
white sauce comes out of him.
And all that chicken and mushroom comes out of him.
See, I thought he looked like a spring roll with all the tubes. It was like bean shoots. It did look a bit nice though, didn't it? In its own way.
Yeah. It's hard not to feel hungry when you look at Ian Holm.
Right.
It's a good job he's got a way to vanish whenever he needs to.
Not anymore. He's vulnerable.
That's true. That's what happened when he sails away to the other lands across the sea. He lands where all the elves are and they just eat him.
Oh, probably. Oh, jeez. Anyway, at the period of our arrival to the island, the heaviest storage of the Pequod had been almost completed, comprising her beef, bread, water, fuel, and iron hoops and staves. But as before hinted, for some time there was a continual fetching and carrying on board of diverse, not divers, of diverse odds and ends of things, both large and small. Well, I see very little need to change any of that. Let's just whack that in there. It's just another list.
Is this our 3rd or 4th list of the chapter?
I think that's our 4th. All right.
Amazing.
Wait, when he says at the period of our arrival at the island, what island? The fuck is he talking about? Well, skip in there. That's going to confuse people.
Nantucket's an island, isn't it?
I don't know. But he's talking about... He's gone back in time and is... Oh, fuck off.
What?
Right, when we got there... There we go. Now it doesn't matter. Because I read that. I thought it was when they're turning up. And they're seeing all the main shit is there. And I don't know.
No, he's saying when we'd arrived, all the heaviest stuff had already been put on.
How would he know? Because they didn't get to the ship until, like, the day after. They asked someone. He probably had.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. He
He seems the type.
Yeah. Doesn't that that sounds really appetizing, doesn't it? When all your beef has already been on the ship for several weeks
Oh,
before
yeah.
you start voyaging.
When we got there, the heaviest storage of the Pequod had been almost completed. Pequod, alright, was mostly fully loaded. Comma. Loaded with. Right. Beef, bread, water, fuel, iron hoops and staves. But as before hinted, for some time there was a continual fetching and carrying. What? Hey, stop telling me that they're putting things on the ship. Fuck off. I think we delete this paragraph.
I
It
think
adds nothing.
This is a master author at work where he can tell you the same thing over the course of 8 chapters and make it seem like he's telling you something new.
I'm getting rid of it.
Okay.
Even if it means I have to get rid of diverse odds and ends of things, both large and small.
I mean, the other option is just to copy and paste it in, or do you just hate it that much?
You don't need it. We're trying to save people time, Andy.
That's true.
This is a public service. That's how we get our public funding.
But what if people get later into the book and they're like, wait a second.
Hey, they just missed a chapter.
When did this beef get here? They didn't say anything about beef.
That's true. Ah, fuck's sake, fine. Alright. There was other stuff that we didn't see get loaded in because we were too late to see it. Because that implies that he's just watching this all and taking notes.
He's not helping at all.
See it. Things like the beef, iron hoops, etc. Alright. Things like beef, bread, water, fuel, iron hoops and staves. But as before, Alright. So all we... now I am going to get diverse odds and ends of things, both large and small, in there.
Makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I'll just put that in. For some time, there was a continual fetching and carrying on board of diverse, with an E, odds and ends of things, both large and small. Okay, Andy.
Okay. Chief among those who did this fetching and carrying was Captain Bildad's sister, a lean old lady of a most determined and indefatigable spirit, but withal very kind-hearted, who seemed resolved that if she could help it, nothing should be found wanting in the Pequod, after once fairly getting to sea. At one time, she would come on board with a jar of pickles for the steward's pantry.
Pickles for the boys.
Nice! Another time with a bunch of quills for the chief mate's desk, where he kept his log. A third time with a roll of flannel for the small of someone's rheumatic back. Never did any woman better deserve her name, which was Charity, Aunt Charity, as everybody called her. And, like a sister of Charity, did this charitable Aunt Charity bustle about hither and thither, it's hurting my brain, ready to turn her hand and heart to anything that promised to yield safety, comfort, and consolation to all on board a ship in which her beloved brother Bildad was concerned, and in which she herself owned a score or two of well-saved dollars. So you heard it here first, everybody. If this voyage doesn't go well, it's Aunt Charity's fault.
What?
That's my interpretation.
I can't believe she'd do this.
I know, but that's the only reading.
Okay. I can cut this down.
Emma says so few women in this, and they describe her like this, which is a very good point. I think the lady in charge of the inn with the chowder was pretty good.
She was great.
She just blanked.
What you eating?
Blanked Ishmael and suggested putting a sign up saying no suicides.
Alright. One of the main characters of this boat loading sequence was Bildad's sister, old Aunt Charity. who went around giving pickles to the lads. What else did she do?
She would put pens in places, old pens.
Pickles
She
to the
put
lads.
pickles
Old
in.
pens in old pen pots.
And a roll of flannel for the small of someone's rheumatic back. Which...
And flannel down some of the guys' bad backs. She was lovely, to be honest. That's how she got her name of Aunt Charity.
I think her name is also literally Charity. I think that's her.
Okay. Though
So I guess that's how she got her name, Ant.
that may actually be her name. So it's possible that only the ant part came from her shipboard. Shipboard caregiving. I don't know if those should both be compound words, but they are now. Shipboard caregiving.
Nice.
She promised everyone that everything was going to be alright. She did do that. I didn't make that up, did I?
I think I made that up.
She bustled about hither and thither. Yeah. She promised to yield safety, comfort, and consolation to all on board a ship. She promised.
Well, ready to turn her hand and heart to anything but promise.
Okay,
so ready.
I'm not putting words in Aunt Charity's mouth. She deserves better than that.
Yeah.
Right, that's fine. We've covered Aunt Charity.
Okay. It's your go, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it was startling to see this excellent-hearted Quakeress coming on board, as she did the last day, with a long oil ladle in one hand and a still longer whaling lance in the other. Nor was Bildad himself nor Captain Peleg at all backward. As for Bildad, he carried about with him a long list of the articles needed. God, I hope we get to read that list. And at every fresh arrival, down went his mark opposite that article upon that paper. Every once in a while, Peleg came hobbling out of his whalebone den, roaring at the men down the hatchways, roaring up to the riggers at the masthead, and then concluded by roaring back into his wigwam. That's really good.
And then he roared back into bed and roared himself to sleep.
I think that's actually fine.
Yeah, I like this.
We can cut down a little bit while we get to Noah's building himself. Catch me at all backwards. What? No, we don't need that. That can go. Oh shit, where's it gone? Alright. As for Bildad, he carried about with him a long list of articles needed. And you know, I love a list. So this was great to see. I put that in brackets. This is, okay, so we're doing this so that we're like characterizing what we're seeing more. And it's less like just a list of things that are happening. It's more like, wow, I'm happy Ishmael got to have a great time seeing that list. And every fresh arrival, down went his mark opposite that article upon the paper. Every once in a while, Peleg came hobbling out of his whalebone den. Roared. Very good. Okay.
Excellent. During these days of preparation, Queequeg and I often visited the craft, and as often I asked about Captain Ahab and how he was, and when he was going to come on board his ship. To these questions they would answer that he was getting better and better, and was expected aboard every day. Meanwhile, the two captains, Peleg and Bildad, could attend to everything necessary to fit the vessel for the voyage. If I had been downright honest with myself, I would have seen very plainly in my heart that I did but half fancy being committed this way, so long a voyage, without once laying my eyes on the man who was to be the absolute dictator of it. So soon as the ship sailed out upon the open sea. But when a man suspects any wrong, it sometimes happens that if he be already involved in the matter, He insensibly strives to cover up his suspicions, even from himself. And much this way it was with me. I said nothing and tried to think of nothing.
Iconic.
That's the
Ishmael the
Ishmael
iconic
way.
himbo.
Yeah.
Alright, we're keeping that part in at the end.
Excellent.
Okay, so I think we can summarize that quite well. Alright. And throughout all of this, you know who I never saw? Only the bloody captain of the voyage. I can never spell voyage. Only the bloody, I keep wanting to spell it voyage. But, which is kind of how you say it, actually, now I think of it, but I spell it wrong. Only the bloody captain of the voyage, this Ahab guy, there's something in me that says that if you're going to put yourself at the direct mercy of a ruling kind of despot like a captain out at sea with nowhere to run and no option to just politely leave or opt out, that part of me, that's a part of me that says that you should probably get to know what that guy's like a little bit. I kept asking when he was going to come aboard so I could meet him. And everyone said, "Oh, don't worry about that. He's getting better every day." Every day. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll see him this after... See him shit? What? That's supposed to say this. See him this afternoon. And you know what? I never did. Well, not at this point in the story anyway.
Not in these specific afternoons.
Sorry, anyway. That part of me was telling me to simply leave. Do not set out to sea. This will end badly. Just think about all that list of omens. List of bad omens from earlier. This is going to be awful. And you know what I did? You know what I said? I said nothing. And I tried to think nothing.
Nice. So last line's all yours, I guess.
It's simpler that way sometimes. Right. At last it was given out that sometime next day the ship would certainly sail. So next morning, Queequeg and I took a very early start. It's a bit...
It's another non-ending, isn't it?
I think we just leave it.
Why didn't he just finish on I said nothing and tried to think nothing?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Alright, so, news for next time. There will be a next time, but it's probably going to be in about... well, it'll either be midweek or something. If we do it, we'll see. Or... well, basically, I'm going to be away for 3 weekends and the weeks in between. So this might be your last fix of the Moby Dick mix. For
unless we do one on Wednesday. Unless
we do one on Wednesday, which is an option. So I think we just read through what we wrote right now.
Do you reckon?
I reckon we do. And then when we come back after the big break, we'll have a proper recap put together with a script. Bullet pointed.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're going to have a concise recap.
Our own list.
Yes, that's what we can do.
That is exciting.
I could even put... I've got ideas now. We'll see what we do. Anyway, I think we do the recap right now. I think we'll do the read-through. Cool. Let's do it.
Okay. Do you want to start? Have you got a chapter title?
Oh, yeah, all astir. All right. It's not all astir because we're not all astir, are we?
Very exciting.
Loading. That's what they're doing. And it has a different meaning in current modern days because it's when you're loading something up on a computer and it means it's getting ready to go. It's literally it. That's what they're doing. Just not on a computer. Except I'm reading it off a computer.
Sometimes you get little notices of what it's loading flashing up like.
Yeah.
Loading Ahabs.
Yeah. Opening XMLs or whatever. I don't know. I never read that. But I like to have the option. All right. Take us away, Andy.
A day or two passed. I don't know how long. I wasn't really keeping notes. But the important thing was that the Pequod was getting all fixed up and ready to sail. So much sail. Sail for days. You wouldn't believe how many sails they were strapping to this thing. Sails in the hold, for Christ's sake. If this ship had one thing on it that wasn't bones, it was sails. Here are some of the types of sail I remember. Mainsail, topsail, jib, binnacle, screecher, and many more. I guess the other things, beside bones and sails, was food and other things that people need. And also those old captain guys, Peleg and Bildad, who were doing loads of admin and shouting. Everyone was working very hard.
At one point, some guys were like, "Oh, fellas, come on quick and get all your stuff aboard. We don't even know when we're sailing. Quick, hurry up!" But then it turned out that we were not ready to go, and they were just messing us about, really, so that was annoying. If you're the kind of guy who knows what sort of things get used in a house, you'd know it's important to have things like these. Beds, saucepans, knives and forks, shovels and tongs, napkins, nutcrackers, brooms, ladders, little dustpan and brush, big dustpan and brush, bucket, books, papers and old-type pens, lamps, etc. and whatnot. These are all things that are indispensable to the business of housekeeping. And folks, let me tell you, it's no different with whaling. Think about it. You're living on that boat, which makes it a house, which means you're looking at 3 years' worth of housekeeping on the wide ocean, far from all sorts of places where you could get new supplies and things for your house/ship. I'm talking about grocers, rope salesmen, doctors, bakers, tinkers, tailors, candlestick makers, carpenters, newsagents, pie salesmen, etc.
This applies for all kinds of big voyage ships. But it's super true for whaling ships because they are the type of ships that get fucked the most. Hands down, no debate, worst place to be. So that's why when it comes to whaling, you take double of everything at least, and more than double if you can. I'm talking spare boats, spare spars, spare lines and harpoons, spare everything more or less. Only thing you can't do is bring a spare captain and duplicate ship. That would be insane.
There was other stuff that we didn't see get loaded in because we were too late to see it. Things like beef, bread, water, fuel, and iron hoops and staves. There's your cat there.
There is my cat there, yeah. I was just grabbing him.
Show me the cat.
Noisy. Hello, Freddy.
Okay, we have seen the cat. Can I get a cat champ in the chat, please?
Yeah, can we get some cat
Are there cat emotes? Please give us one cat emote, please. Thank you. Anyway. Where did we get to?
This is good engagement, Sam. This
will be great for the podcast.
Yeah.
There was other stuff.
It's a cat in sunglasses in chat.
Have you ever seen such a thing as a cat with Whoa, that's a
cat looking
cat?
shocked.
Oh, we've opened a whole can of cat-shaped worms here.
God, can you imagine?
There was other stuff that we didn't see get loaded in because we were too late to see it. Things like beef, bread, water, fuel, and iron hoops and staves. For some time there was a continual fetching and carrying on board of diverse odds and ends of things both large and small. One of the main characters of this boat loading sequence was Bildad's sister, old Aunt Charity, who went around giving pickles to the lads and old pens and and putting old pens in old pen pots and flanneling. That should be flanneling. All right. Okay. Let me take another crack at that.
Okay.
One of the main characters in this boat loading sequence was Bildad's sister, old Aunt Charity, who went around giving pickles to the lads and putting old pens in old pen pots and flanneling down some of the old guys' bad backs. She was lovely, to be honest. That's how she got her name of Aunt Charity, though that may actually be her name, so it's possible that only the aunt part comes from her shipboard caregiving.
But it was startling to see this excellent-hearted Quakeress coming on board, as she did the last day, with a long oil ladle in one hand and a still longer whaling lance in the other. As for Bildad, he carried about with him a long list of the articles needing, and you know I love a list, so this was great to see. And at every fresh arrival, down went his mark opposite that article upon the paper. Every once in a while, Peleg came hobbling out of his whalebone den, roaring at the men down the hatchways, roaring up to the riggers at the masthead, and then concluded by roaring back into his wigwam.
Very good. And throughout all of this, you know who I never saw? Only the bloody captain of the voyage, this Ahab guy. There's something in me that says if you're going to put yourself at the direct mercy of a ruling kind of despot like a captain, out at the sea where there's nowhere to run and no option to just politely leave or opt out. Sorry, opt out. That's a part of me that likes to say, you should probably get to know what that guy's like a little bit. I kept asking when he was going to come aboard so that I could meet him, and everyone said, "Oh, don't worry about that. He's getting better every day. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll see him this afternoon." And you know what? I never did. Well, not at this part of the story, anyway.
Part of me was telling me to simply leave. Do not set out to sea. This will end badly. Just think about all that list of bad omens from earlier. This is going to be awful. And you know what I did? You know what I said? I said nothing, and I tried to think nothing. It's simpler that way sometimes.
And
what a note to finish on.
That's a good chapter. Thank you for all these cats in the chat, and thank you for listening.
There's so many cats in chat.
That's more cats than I've seen in real life in one place. And I've been to a cat cafe.
Whoa. If Twitch metrics are like, if their algorithms are like how many cats are in chat.
Yeah, we're top 500 right now.
Front page of Twitch.
Front page. Put us on there. Put us next to that guy from the In-Betweeners. He's always on the front page whenever I go there. I don't know why. I don't even like In-Betweeners. I'm sure it's a great show, but it hurts my soul to watch because I just hate the English.
Anyway, join us next time.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Right. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time, where I'm hoping I might have some updated graphics. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to do something way beyond my skill level. So it probably won't happen. Don't want to get your hopes up, Aro. And
I'm excited.
As you go about your business this coming week, try to be a little bit more like old Aunt Charity, you know? If you see an old guy with a bad back, go and flannel it down.
You reach into your pocket and you find you've got some pickle stuff there. Why not go give some pickles to the boys?
Yeah.
And if you see a pieman shattered on the street with his innards spilled everywhere,
wait for him to cool down, for God's sake. It's too hot. Yeah. All right. Well, I liked it. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.
I still don't have an outro card. Oh well. It's alright, you only have to watch this for about 10 seconds. I just don't want the stream to cut off early. I'm just going to keep nattering. It's a good word. No one says the word natter enough these days. I'm going to write to my local newspaper. I'm going to send it into the letters page. Alright, I'm going to end it now. See you later. Bye.